The Avengers from Square Enix turned out to be quite controversial and not everyone liked it for so many reasons, which would take too long to list. And apparently the publisher realized that they had screwed up the game because the next game, Guardian of the Galaxy, turned out to be 350 million heads higher than its predecessor. Absolutely everything from a crooked fight to a large amount of low quality masturbation, thanks God they didn't insert in a new game. Instead they put some cool screenwriter for writing the script, and he printed a script for 17 hours of the game, the quality of which, along with the stugging and acting, it easily can give the cheek to the film of the same name in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I haven't experienced such a delight from the game for a long time. Every millisecond of the game is literally saturated with the banned humor of the Guardians, and therefore, unlike the Avengers, it will quite difficult to find a fault with this game. From the very first seconds before I even pressed the new game button, we were greeted by the main menu under "Don't worry, be happy."
Be happy.
What could be better than this? I also saw Drax wearing reading glasses. I couldn't pass it by. In fact, the whole game is saturated with a whole amount of cool music from beginning to the end. So I'll probably remove one more scene and try not to return to this again. But I can't promise anything. Well, as for their graphics, I think you could not say anything. It looks so juicy and beautiful that film about Guardians are not much for it. And the rocket is so fluffy that it looked like it crawled straight out of the movie.
Larkin, Scott stained, Quill. You okay down there?
Yep. Yeah, just, thought I saw a shortcut.
Right.
Go ahead without me. I'll catch up.
And what's stopping Groot now? Just like he did the bridge to lower the twigs down so that Peter can climb up to them much faster. The combat system in the game not only is 3 million times better than that in Avengers, but it is also one of the most convenient and enjoyable combat systems that I have ever seen. Every time a battle ended, I inevitably shed a tear because I wanted more. The only nitpick to it, and this is precisely my subjective nitpick, but I would like at least during the battle to be able to switch between characters and fully fight for one another team member. But no, there is one hero in the game and all of the rest are just partners, whose role cannot even be played by another player in cooperative. Peter has or will soon have the ability to fly on his sandals, but he still won't be able to overcome obstacles with them. Firstly, you can activate this ability only in combat, and even if you try to fly over the obstacle in combat, the screen will simply darken and return you back to the nut break puzzles. Who holds napkins like that?
We're inside a giant robot head.
And I got robot parts inside my head.
Inside your head. Inside a giant robot head.
Come on, dude.
It's fine anyways. There's nothing to worry about.
An accident rocket? Come on.
What? That's all it was.
It's your fault.
The rocket weighs 5 kilograms. If those pinks not withstood that giant piece of metal, then this jump should not have changed the situation in any way.
Can you squeeze in there?
Knew it. Rocket, fix the thing. Rocket, clean up the mess. Rocket, crawl into the mystery hole.
This scene is of course very funny, but what the point of fighting for this pebble if still share the income for this between the team? In many games where there is some kind of combat system, if it's possible to perform some kind of super attack or ability by pressing R1 and L1 at the same time, and the Guardians of the Galaxy have made this superpower at least outwardly better than anyone before it. Peter Quill assembles a team, says some motivational phrase, presses a button on his Walkman, some awesome music from the 80s starts up, and we continue to kick opponents, but with restored health and to awesome music from the 80s. Now you see why I whimpered every time the battle ended. But even this can be a little nitpicked in the scene that the opponents are culturally standing and waiting until we agree to end up and return to the battle. No matter how much I shoot at the place where the terrible monster sits, I will do not any damage to him at all, because the game wants me to use Groot to capture so that we can find out that this is not a monster but the cutest creature in the entire explored and even unexplored galaxy. Except for the baby Groot, of course.
That's
His elbows are successfully broken.
You can't be serious.
What? This way we can scope things out before we finish the transaction.
We're like 100 clicks from her base.
You know how much I like scoping.
But to be honest, I like the game so much that I would not refuse even a masturbation for plus 50 hours in it. No matter how hard we soak our asses in various wet mud, not a drop of this mud will appear on Peter's clothes anyway. Even after bathing in jelly, everything will remain perfectly clean, like from the dry cleaner.
We got this. Just don't fall and we'll be fine.
Just don't fall, you say? Okay, challenge accepted. So I fell, and what's next? Why be afraid of falling if it doesn't kill anyone? Unless, of course, you fall several times in a row, but it doesn't matter. And now we have to fight with jelly. I am not able to measure the level of such genius, and therefore I will simply remove the scene, and that's all. As the game progresses, you can find many chests in which you can find clothes from the movies from the main characters. It is cool. But this can also be a little nitpicked. The fact that they change clothes on the go is fine, but how do Drax and Gamora change their tattoos between times?
It's a retractable bridge. They used them at the prison I was in.
Too bad the controls are on the other side of the giant chasm.
What do you not have time to dawdle in this jungle?
I hate to remind you, but you have a tree that can stretch in branches for long distances, dude with jet boots, and woman who can jump on walls. And judging by the teleportation in the time of a battle, also know how to teleport. Rocket throwing scene is very funny, but I'm here to nitpick, leave me alone. If you knock on such a severely frozen person, he will not unfreeze, but will break into pieces. Gamora should hook on this rugged thing to throw me up later, but until I scan this wall, I won't be able to do this trick. Well, I approached this wall like that, I saw that it was impossible to interact with, and went to calm continue to be stupid. In the game of 2021, the water does not react at all to the fact that I run on it. As soon as we find ourselves in hopeless situation, Peter Pistols will immediately learn to do some new garbage, thanks to which we will be able to save ourselves in the end.
Release the beast. Let me dispose of it. Because that worked so well for you last time.
Last time it worked out really well. He kicked Drax's ass, but after that you altogether successfully kicked ass to him. What's the problem? A magnificent touch lock on a cage, which instead of a password or fingerprint opens with a simple touch and not even a hand but a piece of wood. How did it still not open from a leaf flying by? In order for the blow to work, it is desirable to hit not past your target.
So, how long before someone else wants to pull this thing?
Peter is tired of dragging a cage leviathan in the air, which due to its levitation does not create any resistance in its drag. The best birthday cake ever made. Blowing out candles doesn't work like that.
I'll be careful, Ma. I always am.
Were you careful when you got that black eye?
I told you
I
was...
know! You were standing up for someone, which is a good thing. But you cannot go punching your way out of every problem, Peter.
Some problems can be solved with a gunshot. This is American school.
$20?
Don't push it. Think of it as a long overdue gift from your father.
A belated gift from that is weapon. A real weapon that can kill people. I actually joked about the firearm. Woman, your son is 13 years old. What kind of weapon is this? Are you normal at all?
You are not the first to claim they have captured a Tara Tara.
You doubt its authenticity?
It is what you say it is. Prove it. Or suffer the consequence of every other would-be con artist.
I assure you,
I say,
milady.
Release it.
Well done, and now if you are not a complete fool, run away as far as possible from this monster, hide somewhere so he can see you. Well, or just stand right behind him so that he instantly grabs you. Well done. Assassin's Creed Odyssey turned out to be so bad that Cassandra decided to go out of it into some more normal game.
We'll see, Destroyer. I can be quite forceful.
Peter Quill. I believe she is flirting with me.
and most likely hears you 2 meters away from her whispering not very quietly. At this point we were shown that there is some kind of currency in the game. They showed it only so that we would never use it. The only 2 financial transactions in the entire game are now receiving money and towards the end returning this amount. Why we are not shown this interface is not clear. How instantly lucky we are that absolutely all the guards who met us in the way decided to swell and fall asleep. And at what everyone fall asleep so much that none of them would even hear the characters passing by and speaking quite loudly.
We saw him take Groot down the elevator, right? So we just gotta find the controls.
Lady Ladi-Da's probably got him on her fancy chair up there.
We are down here.
Hellbender used some sort of rising stairs.
But you have a green woman who can climb walls and men with jet sneakers. What, you forgot about them? Okay, go solve the puzzle. Guardians of the Galaxy suddenly decided to cosplay Watch Dogs. Of course I understand that this is not a real Groot but just a bait, but still, why the hell do you want to put a touch panel inside the camera that opened this very camera? Unlike the Avengers, in this game we will meet a lot of cool and varied boss fights, each of which is divided into several phases of the battle with him, and which coupled with a cool combat system, they pay simply awesomely.
Bring me Nasha!
Everybody grab a bike!
They won't let us ride those hover bikes. Well, you understand that I won't be able to resist and not remove scene for the puppies.
What kind of name is Avengers?
Even in the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers uttered the very line that they were too lazy to say in their own game.
Careful, Peter Quill. In my experience, children often booby-trap their toys.
Does, this mean anything?
How old is the child?
12.
Ha! Congratulations, Peter Quill! You will make a terrible father.
In a game where references to Star Wars slip several times and in which there is storyline with the fact that one hero finds out that the other hero is her father, how could you not make a reference? At least in some form of achievement. In the report for a dog, if during the appearance of the selection of duty interact with some object, this interface on selection of the queue will remain to right on the next choice by clue, but it will disappear only if you see a new interface under this interface and you can click on it. No matter how many opponents have we found of us, even if there is only one, is the super attack senses, they will speak on them in the plural. I kind of remember the password I found, so it would seem smart when I found the place where I need to enter it. I found a place where to need to enter it and they just took it and wrote it so that it's sort of intelligent players like me, all sorts of intelligent players do not stupid for a long time. And yes, how convenient that someone just left the computer turned on with the open page where the password from the terminal will secretly data is written. Great employers work there.
Hey, at least the dumb scuds let us keep our weapons.
Demonstrate their lack of fear. It is a proven battle tactic. Katathian warriors often ride into battle completely naked.
Keep your pants on.
I mean, why not? Gamora, don't show off and do what Drag says. He's obviously smarter than you. What are you said because you didn't find the numbers of this game?
Wait. Weren't there more of you? What? No.
Nope.
Nope.
The great wise grandfather goes to have the ability to remember who stood in front of him a minute ago. Rocket messed up something in a drone from which he fell and Groot showed and flicks freak, as a result of which the great grey-hair grandfather noticed the Rocket was chemically doing something with his drone back there. But the game said that the Rocket could not hack the drone due to the fact that we spoke badly to the old grandfather and the Rocket would be offended by us. Because of this also there is no fault of ours. Padme, what are you forgotten here? Just because Disney bought Marvel doesn't give you right to jump around the universes.
Maybe I'm out of line, but aren't you a little young for a dress that short?
Peter seems to have confused the word short with the word fucking long.
Is this the same radio you used to have?
I have to admit this ending is quite unexpected and somehow too sudden, but even though the game turned out to be rather short, the happy ending still happened. Peter Quill returned home, became a farmer, started growing marijuana. Stop. I think they fucked me. Eidas bitches.
I don't know how, but the three of us are connected now.
If the three of you are not connected, why then can't you just, like Kona, climb into Nikki's hallucination and tell her the same information that did you see? Either our opponents have mega weak weapons or we have mega strong ones, but no matter how much they shoot at us, our platform did not even think to exploit it, while their platforms explode from several shots at it. Never make the mistake that I made by deciding to go other way to locations I have already been to. The game did not expect me to do this so much that it already deleted those locations in advance and turned out to be lacking in them. The Avengers, damn it, Guardians of the Galaxy flew into outer space, from which they were picked up at the last moment by passing ship. Firstly, how convenient, and secondly, are you not ashamed of the fucked senses from the movie?
Cosmo unable to get through. Guardian of Galaxy must actually.
I did not have time to finish an important detail for the plot cliche. Please note how seamless the transaction from the cutscenes to the gameplay are in the game. You can't even tell at first glance where the transaction begins and where it ends. In this terminal, in order to successfully continue the plot, you only need to press a couple of buttons, but its contents are so cool that I could not resist climbing it all over it.
I know! Let's join the Corps and rob them!
Rocket said this after the terminal told us to wait for information about enlisting 999 years.
No, of course not. You need to save the
Galaxy cannot be saved, Peter Quill.
The world consciousness, judging by its fields, is a pretty smart dude who knows the hell out of he knows, but he still decided not to notice all the possible outcomes of even in which we defeat that evil grandfather and save the galaxy. Take your shoes off the bed, asshole. How can one fall asleep in this position? What's wrong with Kratos' boob?
Mantis.
Where is the matriarch?
Most likely in Mass Effect. Passing through these foggy caves if possible only if you do not call by name those monsters that, in my opinion, are heard in the background. If you remain silent, the fog will disappear and it will be possible to go on further in circle. That's just before Peter Silence, Gamora and Rocket argued about who they hear and called them by name several times, but their opinions were foggy for some reason they didn't take into account. I now need to persuade the Rocket to go into the hole that waterfall blocks, and if would be easier to do that is my freeze would work only a scripted waterfall, but for all others too. Well, or Groot can make an umbrella with his branches, what the problem?
Rocket. Check it out. Still not dead.
Rocket is dry for some reason. We were given to kick ass Thanos. And plus I was lucky at the beginning of the battle to use a team supporter and therefore I fucked Thanos to the cool song.
Welcome, travelers. Have you come to witness the fulfillment?
The what now?
The realization of the Matriarch's promise. The beginning of a new world. One without death, or pain, or fear. You should know this. Weren't you vetted and cleared to land here?
What? Of course we were.
How are you not aware of the fulfillment? Something is wrong. These heretics must be stopped. Attack!
Lord, you just had to just accent to any questions of this secretarian so that you would not be burned. I understand that if the Watchman's trick to always screw the everything, but this is too stupid. You didn't even have to do anything to make it work for you, but seriously. Some costumes are just dumb. Maybe it's from the comics, more likely it's something from the comics, but still it's a fucking up costume. No matter how varied the costumes of other characters are, some of the Groot skins are not immediately distinguishable from each other. Shoot a tree, shoot that tree. Why invent a new character when you can dye Vision gold and grow his hair?
What the fuck are you doing? He's one of them now.
If he is with them now, why then did he protect himself from them with force field and why did he shoot at him?
We shall retreat. Please, give me an excuse to kill.
Oh, do you need a reason for this? He is, as it were, the only one who is capable of killing you. Didn't you think that it would be better not to live such a threat alive? It seems to me that when you are not strapped to your seat and this ship is so fucked up, you are unlikely to stay in the chair if you're sitting on. And after landing like this with a bumping engine, how can you fly back to the rocket does not fix it. Gamora should have at least blown his head off with this stone now. This is the cutest thing I ever seen in my life. In order to successfully push any object, regardless of its gravity, it would be nice to touch it with your hands and not the air around it.
You murdered the Dragon Lord of Kakarantara! Ah!
Suddenly, at the moment where you need to revive a dead monster, it turns out that Groot can revive the dead monsters. Firstly, how convenient, and secondly, why can't he do this with the other dead? For example, when I die in battle, why is the checkpointer starting and not being resurrected by Groot? Or why can't Groot revive all of those characters who are killed during the game in the same way? Or it is one-time deal? Yes, it seems not. A little later the story he will resurrect someone else there, or does it take so long time to charge or what?
Guardians of the Galaxy, stop hiding! The monster lords of Seknarf 9 hunger for battle.
Aren't they eager to explain what the fuck their queen is talking in outer space and how the fuck is this hair? Exploding red barrels cliché.
I believe this is yours, Star-Lord.
The workman doesn't say anywhere that it belongs to the strategize and you've never seen him to use it. And even if she saw, she would not know that it is important to Peter. But anyway, it was epic. If you still haven't torn your pants, that I think you will never tear them again. So we defeated the evil grandfather, brought Nikki back to consciousness, and what I would like to say... Well, for sure, this is Marvel, then the credits are far from the end, how could I forget? What happened in the mid-credit scene? And there was a real final boss that we have to defeat. Marvel used to do 10-second post-credit scene with some hint of sequel, now it is fucking boss fight. Not bad. What is the coolest thing about the post-final boss fight?
Box my berry!
A fucking final countdown behind the scene that made this boss fight about 39 times as cool as the most perfect final song you can think of. Well, now this masterpiece is definitely over, and I can only say about it, wow, fuck and fuck. It was long, it was cool, and it was fucking awesome. Such games are give hope that not everything is fucked up yet, and offended feminists or other creatures of independent gender have not completely captured our planet. And to prevent this from happening, you definitely need to press all the clickable buttons under this video at the same time and subscribe to our channel. There is also post-credit scene. It is not that a lot of important things happened here, but I paid more attention to the music playing in it, which...
It's fine, really. I can sleep on the couch.
The couch is filthy. I've seen the rodent relieve himself on it.
She could sleep in Gamora's room.